Hi everyone at hashtag CDC Whistleblower. I'm here with, and hashtag B1 Less News. God, I'm all over the place doing these. Timothy, say hi, would you?
Hello, everybody.
He's at Tanner's Dad, which is always a fabulous way to retweet your way into infamy. Let's start with this. This is a calendar, calendarwiz.com. Say hello to the plane that isn't supposed to be going over my house, but is. calendarwiz.com/SP277 is a way to access a calendar that is online that has the calendar events that are going on in the state of California. Anybody can replicate the same thing. It's a free service, calendarwiz.com. You sign up, make it / the name of your bill without any hyphens or extras. And then we, of course, at hashtag CDC Whistleblower will help you tweet that if you can get it out. But here's the concept. You've now heard of NACHO. NACHO is the organization that is funded by the CDC to manipulate the states, completely illegal. And how they manipulate the states is they've gotten 112 bills to take away your rights to own your body away. And many of the bills have already been defeated across the country, but California has more money in politics than any other state. So, of course, the fight is harder in our state. And this is simply a calendar to show people easily where they need to be on which day, if at all possible, for the city council meetings, the PTA meetings, and any other meetings that groups of people are trying to put together where they're talking about SB 277 and they're forming resolutions and voting on them. San Francisco and Santa Cruz, we didn't hear about it. We didn't get the word out. They went through the motions. They passed the resolution. They posted it in the newspaper, and on they went. Every other place that's had it, like Berkeley and San Diego, we were able in about 8 hours to get the word out, to help get some of those people in the room. In Berkeley, they went till midnight and postponed the bill, or the voting on the resolution. And in San Diego, same kind of deal. It went on and on and on. They postponed the resolution. Here's some of the follow-up on all of these. For the cities that already passed resolutions, with a little bit of research, you can find out who got it on the agenda and what was the letter that accompanied the agenda item. And then you emailed to get it put back on the agenda for a later date because there wasn't proper notice to discuss it. And but what I want Tim to talk about, because he's our social media pro, is people definitely had concerns about the trolls and the pro-vaccine people organizing to come after now that they can see where we're trying to focus. Can you speak to the last 7 months and the last 7 years in your experience, the open source, no fear sharing approach that we've had?
The basic rights that we have is freedom of expression in the United States. And one of the basic medical doctrines is informed consent. And so our advocacy and platform has been all along that parents are intelligent enough to make their own decisions, and given all the sides to the equation, if they've been given that information, then they have the right to make that decision. And it's pretty easy to make that decision when you see what's going on and you start researching enough. And so what we've done all the way along is just said, we're putting it out there. We're even doing our strategy trends and tips live every day. So if they would like to see what we're discussing, they can pull that up and look at it if they want to. And so we really feel strongly that this information out there makes us stronger because we are giving factual information across the board, and we're not doing anything behind the scenes. To come up with 113 bills overnight, something happened big money-wise, big pharmaceutical-wise, politically-wise, lobbyist-wise, that has never happened, that to my knowledge, in recent politics to make that happen overnight. Currently, we make jokes about Congress not being able to budget enough to fund the country. yet they can have this happen in every state across the country in 30 days.
So can you speak, though, even more specifically to the social media side of this, as far as how you assess what's behind the pro-vax movement, what strengths and weaknesses they have, how many you think they are, how much you think they can mobilize, and what you've seen in real time with these people?
We go back to the survivor story. It's outlast, outlive, outplay, all of those things. We, the parents of vaccine-injured children, have heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears in the game. The trolls and the shills and the people that come out to combat us really only play the game from 10 to 2 Monday through Thursday. And so we're out there 24 hours, 7 days a week, talking not only on Twitter and Facebook, but in real life, in break rooms, in churches, in Sunday school, in wherever we go, we are telling our story. And so our numbers, again, are just off the chart. When you say you created a social media campaign and you, as the 50,000 parents that tweeted, reached 1 billion people, that's off the chart. They can't comprehend those numbers that was done on a zero budget. And so our impact, it's a compliment to us that there's people answering our tweets, every tweet saying something stupid after we tweet. And it just makes them look more stupid when they come back and say, I need to dust off my tinfoil hat. My hat, doesn't matter what my hat is, if I'm putting factual information out there and I'm sharing both sides of it, that's up to the people reading it, what they decide when they read the information.
Our approach has always been completely open source. No fear, put it all out there. For every one thing they have that pretends to support their position, we have thousands of things that completely support the idea that you should have informed consent and you should do your research and not just take any of this for granted.
Show me one other site that is as clear-cut and as distinct as tinyurl.com/HTW videos, where the parents have just laid bare their story. Or show me one other site that there's virtually no commentary on b1less.com. We have taken links we've gathered for the last 7 months and put them right there that anybody can go cut and paste and look at it, open the links, and decide for themselves if this is valid or not valid. We didn't put there, you should make a decision this way off of this. We're just saying this is a way to have a discussion with somebody else. And basically we say start the discussion with, how are your kids doing?
Well, the discussion is absolutely always think about your family. And when I tell you that the national statistic is that half of our kids are sick, now when you're reflecting on your family, did you escape that statistic? Or are half your kids sick? So this is B1 Less, boom, 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 boom. This is where I go when I'm looking for something specific. Like somebody asked for the Simpson Wood transcripts the other day, and I'm like, I can't quite remember exactly where that is. Let me scroll through B1 Less, and I got to the topic of, I think, conspiracy or something like that. There's too many now, it's hard to find. And I found it right away. Censorship, no, that's not where it is. Corruption came down here, secret meeting scandal, and it's the Simpson one transcript. So it's a great way to find what you're looking for. But I'm going to go with the observations I've made from this, and I want you to just say yes or no. We probably outnumber those of us who want to maintain ownership of our body 10 to 1 with those who want to mandate vaccines without exception. Do you think that's probably true?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you think we probably outnumber passion 10 to 1 to their side? Do you think that's true?
100 to 1.
100 to 1. Okay. Do you think that the number of hours that we spend probably is 10 to 1 knowing that there's actually government employees that are doing this for a living? Because one thing that people need to recognize is that there's probably $1 billion being spent in the governments of the United States, that their sole job includes having a high vaccine rate in the United States. Even with that, we're probably out working them 10 hours for every 1 hour. I think that's probably true.
And you subtract out their computer-driven bots.
Right.
And again, I would almost say it's 100 to 1.
Yeah, so when we put a calendar out there that simply demonstrates where to show up, the tool that is to be able to get it to people that can then respond is probably a cost to benefit 10 to 1. For every 10 people that will see it and show up that are on our side, they might have one person that might show up and feel outnumbered, and Tim's going to come back and say, actually, 100 to 1. I can feel it.
And again, when that person shows up to a meeting, because we put the calendar out there, again, the passion, heart, and soul and dedication of a warrior mother, father, grandparent, sibling against a paid shill, it shows up in the first 10 seconds in the first statement out of their mouth. When they say, oh, well, Dr. Wakefield is a fraud, and then instantaneously we can go into, now this gentleman's been fighting for 17 years and has said this, this, and this, and we can show you all of these other links and all of these other factual items that surround this. And Jenny McCarthy and Dr. Wakefield had nothing to do with a mother's decision this last 30 days to make a decision about vaccines.
They have no idea they were even involved in the argument. So now let's switch gears really quickly. Yesterday, Dr. Pan came on with some stuff on Facebook and some stuff on Twitter. Candace and I went over that yesterday in TAD Tips 93. But you need to know that this is complete misrepresentation of the intention of, not the intention, but of what was actually presented in something. I don't want to go into it right now because we went into it yesterday, so just go to TAD Tips 93. But if you go to /Pan Cochran, you're going to see what he said. If you go to /Fake Cochran, you're going to see what appears to be a blog that's pretending to be part of the Cochrane collaboration. And then if you go to Cochrane Measles, you're going to see what they really said, and they just don't line up. And this is just Dr. Pan doubling down on misleading people in the state of California. So now let's go into what'd you find here, Tim, because I've always thought that there's a lot more people that are pro-choice about who owns your body than people are talking about right now. And talk about how we talked about this yesterday and then we found these today.
It's just a very rewarding to see everybody doing the work out there. This is a example where a warrior mother from New York went out and found the picture and connected it to the link out of people's statements or books of what they have said in detail about vaccines related to their children. And we made a comment about it's not just Dr. Wakefield or it's not just Jenny McCarthy, and this warrior mother went through and found a number of statements from celebrities that absolutely echo that sentiment.
So this would be, not that many people watch these videos. I get that. When we have special videos, of course they do, but we have about an average of 25 people that watch them every single day to determine what their action items on Twitter and Facebook will be for that day. But from that group, people are uber active in what they will do to follow the lead, let's say. And this was a direct result of something Tim said. So thank you so much, Autism Warrior NY. Maybe you already had these in your back pocket and you whipped them back out, but they are just amazing. And these are just people who have stepped up to talk about their personal experience with vaccines, and they just get trampled on, and so they disappear back into the woodwork. This is a beautiful meme that obviously has a lot of really great links on it. It has the Hear This HTW videos, which is always really powerful, the 1 and 2, the safety void, just really great link if you see this tree out there. Anything else that we should talk about quickly, Tim?
Don't be afraid to connect to current events and things that are going on. That there's a large discussion about the Empire show that's going on right now, whether that's good or bad. We still have the tinyurl.com/CDC racism that can be connected to that discussion. Don't be afraid to broaden the horizon. Can bring in the people that are sitting there watching basketball and skipping work. With March Madness. Don't be afraid to use that hashtag. And again, just monitor your local news for stories and things that are happening. Every single day we have another child that wanders. We have different court cases going on. And so don't be afraid to bring those up and share them with us and let us amplify that.
And I think another, just really quickly to anybody who's a strategist on any of these bills that they're trying to squash, I think it's absolutely true that they like to vilify the quote-unquote anti-vaccine movement, and if those people show up at an event, then they can characterize that entire event as being full of a bunch of tin hat people. That was actually a strategy used to make the Tea Party go away by planting some people that looked crazy and then attaching that to what the Tea Party was all about, which was really just owning your body and less government driven by the Constitution, but they were able to make it about everything but that. But bottom line is, anybody who's passionate about this should show up and talk to anyone, anytime, as much as humanly possible. Because we just need open source and passion, and we're going to get where we need to go. That doesn't mean that there shouldn't be a group of people that talk strategy around which events, which voice do you bring. For example, I really feel strongly that when it comes to the people who authored these bills, the only thing that's going to change their mind is fear that they're losing their constituents, that they will not be reelected because of this, which I strongly believe is exactly what is going to happen. I think SB 277 in California, and I know we talk about California a lot, but I think it should be true of all these bills, should be the end of a political career if you touch it at all with positive energy. And then I think we're going to get to the point here soon where there's going to be a deadline for people to speak up against it. Like the Republican Party in California just came down against it at the Central Committee level. Campaign for Liberty just came down against it. And I think there needs to be a date and time where, look, if you haven't publicly said you're against this bill by this point, then you're not nearly as secure in your future in politics as you are if you do come down on the right side. Because there is a right side and a wrong side to history on this one. And it's going to come out. And they need to look at the research and find out that they're never going to be elected again. And they really should be afraid of that, I think. And that's what this one's all about that we found. Find out who will end their political career on this bill. And this is something the other states should absolutely do as well. Do the tinyurl.com/ the name of the bill and then the word status. And these are the people. Mike McGuire, co-author. Goodbye. Lisa Wolk. Goodbye. Kathleen Galgiani, politically, of course. And Richard Pan, of course, will never be reelected. They don't understand that there are people that have never been in politics, that have been lifelong Democrats in the state of California, that now have hashtag one issue, that are going to be active for the rest of their lives, making sure this never happens again. So I just got all soapboxy, and I apologize. And
you're right on topic with the fact that we get explosively angry when a politician uses first class or eats at a steakhouse or wastes government funds in some way. But this discussion about where you're absolutely seeing, again, we see the collusion and the influence of the pharmaceutical industry and the possible racketeering that is going on, or in our estimation, we think it's real racketeering going on. This should be as blood-curdling, angry, mad that not only is this going on, but no mainstream media is reporting it. No official has stood up and said how angry they are over this happening. Instead, they're the ones putting it on and supporting it. So again, this should be making your blood boil at this point.
Yeah, this is just tinyurl.com/CDC money. The federal and the state government branches are designed by law to be completely separate. The federal government is never, ever allowed to spend money to influence state politics. And Nacho is completely guilty of doing, as far as we can tell, just that. And this is tinyurl.com/CDC money. And these politicians need to wake up and look at this and steer as clear of this as they possibly can. So, again, I see Candace on the line right there, so I'm sorry, Candace. We're going to do the next one with Candace, but tons going on Twitter.
And I had one other just quick theme that I had come out this morning.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that come up is we're afraid. We talked to this Durst thing's going on right now, the hijinks thing on HBO, and we're all interested in a murder mystery, but we failed to look at who is responsible for a neighborhood child who's vaccine injured right down the road. And
right.
Everybody said it's not their jurisdiction. Well, I think it's time that we kind of push that a little bit and say, every official that you come in contact with, ask them why this is not your jurisdiction.
Right.
I mean, until we come up with something that we should be putting in the face of everybody, every child that's injured, every child that dies, every child that wanders and drowns, every one of those should be amplified to the point where it may not make it to the mainstream national news, but it should be on every alternative media channel we can come up with.
Every day, absolutely. Okay, now my battery's going dead. So, CDC whistleblower, the Hunger Games, it's time to choose. I just recently heard about a mother who had a discussion with her daughter about this whole vaccine thing and not owning your body and potentially having to move out of the state. And the child's response was, "Oh my God, Mom, we're living in the Hunger Games." And the mother's response was, "Yes, we are. It's time to choose between the Hunger Games and owning our country." Love you. See you on Twitter.